Hi, my name is Tayler, and today I am answering an email from a viewer asking for ideas for gifts for the holidays, which are, understandably, a few months out now if we're referring to Christmas and the gift-giving season in winter being up here in the Northern Hemisphere. Well, I really wanted to get to this person's email because there was kind of a sense of urgency to the email, and I'm going to share it with you here in a minute. But I also want to address this notion of what to knit folks for the holidays or any kind of gift-giving season. Knitters tend to feel a certain way about the types of gifts that they knit for people, and I kind of want to talk about that a little bit today, inspired by this person's email. Okay, I want to start by saying that I love the way this person reached out to me. This is how I hope people feel like they can reach out to me if they have questions. I love it. It says, Tayler, my girl, I'm struggling right now, and I know I'm not the only one. I'm a busy mom with a 2.5-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I'm trying to start up my holiday gift knits now, but I am struggling with what to come up with. Some of my family are particular about hats, some are particular about gloves, scarves, etc. So I'm looking for a variety of options. I can crochet as well, but prefer to knit unless it's amigurumi. Do you have any ideas, or could you maybe do a Ravelry roulette to find some out there? Thank you so much for taking the time to even read this, and thanks for all that you do. Well, you are absolutely welcome, and I am more than happy to read this, and I love diving down rabbit holes for purposes like this. Now, what stuck out to me immediately from this person's email was that some family members are particular about hats and some family members are particular about gloves. And those particulars make choosing things to knit for people like this frustrating and stressful because you know that those people are particular. And I looked at that and it had me thinking, what do you knit for the person who's particular about any one item? Well, in my opinion, I look at that and I say, okay, well, the person who's particular about hats, we don't knit them hats. And the person who's particular about gloves, we don't knit them gloves. And then it had me start to think a little bit about, well, how do you get around knitting things for people that you know they're going to use or that's going to serve some sort of purpose? And the one word that stuck in my mind from all of this is quirky. Now, please, just allow me to explain. So often when trying to decide what to knit folks for gifts, we get stuck up on the idea of something that these people will use, something they will wear, something that they will use. And we start to think very much more function forward as opposed to any kind of character behind the item. Not always. Obviously, we know folks who will appreciate anything we knit and we have fun with it and we go bold, and that's great. However, sometimes I think we have more, we hold back a little bit because we want to make sure whatever we give them is something they're going to use. So when it comes to knowing the particulars, like I said, you knit the person who's particular about hats, you knit them a pair of gloves, and vice versa. I also want to posit this particular idea here. Lean into quirky. I love receiving gifts from folks that are something I might use, but also have enough of a quirk about them that you just can't be particular, because something about quirky gifts makes them kind of exempts them from somebody being overly particular about them. You know going in that they don't take themselves seriously, neither should the recipient, and certainly not the giver. And so in the options I've collected for today's video, I leaned heavily on the idea of whimsy and quirk, because I think we could all use a little bit more of that, and sometimes it takes the pressure off and it makes the gift making part of this whole thing a little bit more engaging. Okay, before we get into it, I want to share something right off the top of the episode. I am the owner and dyer of Fiber for the People, and the next shop update for Fiber for the People is this Saturday. I am bringing back a beloved base. This is my Merino Rambouillet, non-superwash, completely untreated, locally sourced from the hills of Northern Nevada, and dyed right here in Southern Nevada in the colorway Kick Drum. It's a gorgeous, deep, kind of navy blue with a really fun pop of color in one portion of the yarn. I absolutely love this. It's a Fiber for the People classic, and it is coming back in a pretty large quantity in Saturday's shop update, along with a couple other fan favorite variegated colors. So keep an eye out for that. Head over to fiberforthepeople.com, sign up for the newsletter so you can stay in the loop about all shop updates. This gorgeous sport weight yarn is coming on Saturday. Okay, we're gonna start the list off with something that really caught my eye. And I have to tell you too that this pattern is not available yet. This is actually going to be available after July 24th through the 26th because it is a promotional pattern for the Wandering You yarn crawl. So just going into this, no, it is not currently available, but it is coming soon. And that is the Camino Cowl. by Azahar Knits. This is such a gorgeous cowl, but the thing I love most about this is the array of colors that was used here. In fact, I'm not sure, like, I wouldn't be drawn to this cowl unconditionally. The colors used here are chef's kiss, whatever. I love this array of colors. I think that there needs to be some kind of spectral story happening here in terms of the colors being used. They have to have some kind of nice contrasting spectrum to make this really pop. I absolutely love this cowl, but ultimately I believe that for any experienced to beginner / experienced knitter, this is a great one for something that's eye-catching, a little quirky, maybe a little more nuanced than a family member or a friend would wear, but it's definitely a very wearable piece with some really lovely color contrast and color pop to go with, I don't know, anything. I would argue that obviously depending on the colors you choose, this assortment of colors here, it's very natural, very Southwest, would go with anything. And for anybody, I think this would be a great gift. For my first option here, this is Azahar Knits Camino Cowl. Okay, we're taking it really whimsical this time. I have actually knit one of these. In fact, I gotta go get it to show you. Hold on. Okay, just bear with me for a second because this isn't going to be the cleanest version of this thing, but let's say you're knitting, or well, in this case, crocheting for a little one, or someone who's not little, but loves little whimsy tacked on to their everyday items, or just sitting on a shelf somewhere to remind them not to take themselves so seriously. Enter my next suggestion, the Granny Square Chicken by Sweet Softies. I challenge you to look at this little chicken and not smile. It's adorable. I absolutely love it. I knit one for my son. Well, actually, I kind of knit one just because I thought they were so stinking cute. And my son adopted it as a keychain for his backpack. And this is it here. And it lived on his backpack for almost the entire school year last year. And it's still going strong. And he said that all the kids just thought it was the coolest thing. It's just a keychain hanging on his backpack, and he absolutely loves it. And I thought it was so cool that he was so into having it on his backpack. And I think they are so whimsical and adorable. I would definitely, I can think of maybe in my family, 4 people immediately that I would be making gifts for during the season that would absolutely love one of these, even if it was kind of bundled in with another gift or as a stocking stuffer. They're just so cute. You need little reminders in your day-to-day not to take yourself so seriously. There's enough reminders out there to the contrary. Little chickens like this one remind us to just, calm it down, bring it back down to earth. Don't take it too seriously. And so that is why I would say my second option here would be the Granny Square Chicken by Sweet Softies. Okay, I don't know what it is about me and thinking that people need to receive hot water bottles for gifts, but I can tell looking down at my Ravelry bundle for gifts, I have talked about hot water bottle covers in the past. I knew this, but I want to keep talking about it because I just think, and you don't see a lot of hot water bottle use here in the United States where I am. I hear about a lot of folks using them over in the UK and in Europe, that it's just a common thing that's used for comfort, home remedies, things like that. Well, I think we need to make it more of a thing. And so I saw this and it just caught my attention because of the whimsy. Imagine you give somebody not only the hot water bottle, but also the hot water bottle cover for Christmas as a nice little, I love you and I want you to be comfortable gift. This is the Snowfall Town hot water bottle cover by Cayenne. I'm not exactly sure how I pronounce that. Cayenne?
Let's break down the pronunciation from China, Mandarin. Xian. Qi. Qi. Yes, Q is ch sound here. Qi and.
That's better. Snowfall Town hot water bottle cover by Season Qian. And I think this is adorable. The first thing that really caught my eye was this really awesome watercolor, or maybe that's, it looks like watercolor, maybe it's not. It's a sketch of the hot water. It might just be colored pencils. It doesn't matter. I love the sketch here, but I love the whimsy of this design. I think how cute. To receive a hot water bottle is just kind of whimsical on its own, at least here in the United States. And then to have it have its own sweater, I mean, come on. And depending on the fabric, and the yarn that you're using, it may or may not be to their preference. So you want to stick to something that's very soft. But I just love this. I think if I received this, I would be tickled pink and I would use it and I would cherish it. And I would just think like, how cool. How cool is something like this? We spend a lot of time knitting things for ourselves that we know we're going to wear, that we know we're going to use, and probably have, we're a little bit more reserved. Maybe not all of us. But for those of us that do tend to be like that, and I tend to be like that, this kind of stuff is fun to knit because it's a hot water bottle cover. You can have a little bit of fun with this. Nobody's gonna be too particular about their hot water bottle covers. And I think this is so cool. So Snowfall Town Hot Water Bottle Cover by Season Qian. I absolutely love that. And it's whimsical. I keep saying that. We're going to keep coming back to that. That is the theme for this collection of gifts, in my opinion. And we're really bringing it in. It's coming in strong in this next one, so stick with me. Now, I don't know if I was a year behind this last Christmas or if we were right on time, but Labubu's were all the rage for gift giving season. My oldest son received a Labubu for Christmas, and it was firmly on his list to Santa for weeks and weeks and weeks prior to Christmas. He wanted a Labubu. He wanted a Labubu. Well, Santa came through and he received a Labubu for Christmas. Now, whether or not the Labubu has stood the test of time is, yet to be seen. It's still there, hanging on his bag. And that's cool. But, these things, they're like flashes in the pan. However, if you know of someone who wanted a Labubu this last Christmas, but now we're moving forward and already has said Labubu, and I know we're getting like super niche, like we're really getting in niche here. So either this is for the person who has one, or you can combine this gift with a Labubu and give it to this person. You just have to see this. I think it's so cute. This is the Boo Boo Cardi by Ginkgo Bee. It's a cardigan for the Labubu. Nobody needs a Labubu, and nobody needs a Labubu that's wearing a cardigan. But if you're going to give a person a Labubu, or they already have the Labubu, then you probably should consider getting them or making them a Labubu cardigan. And here you have it, the Boo Boo Cardi. It's tiny, you can have fun with color, it's fingering weight yarn, and I know you've got a lot of that in your stash. Why not make a little wardrobe of Boo Boo Cardis? And this can be for that person who received their Boo Boo last year and now needs a cardigan. I'm not going to go any further with this. It's a free Ravelry download. Make it or don't make it. Add whimsy or don't. It's probably going to take you all of maybe 15 minutes to make this. Probably not. I'm joking. But please. This next gift idea here is for that person who might be particular. All of these, honestly, all of these I feel like are an antidote for being too particular, but these ones in particular are the Woodblock Mitts by Isolde Teague. I stumbled upon these while developing this little mini collection for this video, and I am taken aback. I think they are so cool. They are constructed in a way that is so unique and different, and it looks very engaging. They don't look like they would take a long time to knit. And depending on the color combination you choose, these could just be a really awesome standout, I don't know, like conversation piece. Something like this can be worn with literally anything. It doesn't have to match because of how whimsical and quirky they are. They are exempt from that whole requirement. And I love these so much. Again, depending on the colors you choose, you can knit this for anybody. If they want them to be a little bit more masculine, you can use more masculine colors. If they want more neutral colors, you go neutral. If you know this person would really appreciate something like what you see in these pictures, then you go something like this. These scream Southwest vibes to me, and I know somebody in my life, not including myself, who would appreciate something like this. And yeah, I absolutely love these. I really would like to make a pair of these myself. I think they're so cool. I would be honored, and also just I would love to receive something like this as a gift. I just think that they're so cool. So these are the Woodblock Mitts by Isolde Teague. They take anywhere from 205 to 235 yards of yarn, but I love the look of these mitts. It's something different. It's something with a lot of character and a lot of whimsy, and I'm all about it. So the Woodblock Mitts by Isolde Teague are my next in my lineup. Okay, this next one is definitely channeling the whimsy here. I would lean into saying this is for somebody who's a little younger. However, this could be for anybody, depending how quirky you want to get with that person, and depending on how much quirk this person is willing to tolerate, or whimsy, what have you. And these are the Lucky Fish by Pearl Soho. You don't have to knit them all. There's 3 of them here, but my gosh, they're adorable. They are little fish stuffies. Again, we're talking about a free pattern. Again, chock full of whimsy. They're like little emotional support fish. And if you have a collection of them, you can have a lot of fun with color. You can have a really fun time coming up with an interesting way to present them in a gift. I know my boys would absolutely love these, but I also know some folks in my life who would really appreciate the whimsy that this would add to a really lovely armchair or someplace on the couch. I don't know, just to add as a little conversation piece around the house. I love the lucky fish. Take it for what it is. If it's for you, if it would be something that you would offer as a gift to somebody, it really just depends. But what I love about them is that they have a really interesting like kind of stitch pattern that gives them the scales, kind of like fish scales. They have some also interesting stitching that create what looks like eyes. Then you have those awesome fins and their flipper. Come on. I think these are so cool. I would make some of these lucky fish to put back here on my couch. I just think I want to embrace more whimsical knitting. And this is one that maybe I was selfishly creating this list because I was feeling inspired by more whimsical knitting, and I was thinking that maybe y'all should be inspired by that too. But if somebody gave this to me and they said they made it and it's a lucky fish, here, have a lucky fish, I made this for you. I would love a lucky fish. Also, I didn't mention this, but the pattern is free. Okay, last but not least, we are ending it with a pattern that inspired me so much that I went out and bought my own I-cord maker, or knitting mill, if you will. This is the Comfort Twist Knitting Mill by Prim. It's what you would use to make I-cords. I bought this because of this. This is the Sushi Date Bag by Friday Knits. Just let it wash over you for a moment. I know. It's fish, it's a drawstring bag, it's adorable. It's whimsy, it's not taking itself seriously, it's functional, and you can have a lot of fun playing with color. Of course, nobody is going to ask you for a drawstring bag with fish on it. Nobody is going to ask for that, right? But when they receive that, they will not realize how much they've needed that in their life. That's my call. That's what I think. And I think that this is a really fantastic exercise in how whimsical you are willing to get with your gift knitting. And I think that this is a really great direction to go if you love something like that. And if you really love this, if this really appeals to you, this designer also has a sweater called the Sushi Date Sweater, which is just essentially the same design on a really lovely circular yoke sweater. Now, the Sushi Date bag is knit using DK weight, and it has an I-cord. And you just have to create this I-cord that I have goes up to DK weight yarn, which I think is pretty standard for I-cord makers. And I'm really excited to give this a try. In fact, I think I'm going to be giving this a test try, possibly right here on the channel. We're gonna open it up, see how it works, see if it works as well as they say that it does. Because I do not like knitting I-cords. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. But something like that, if it does the job, that's a game changer in my opinion. It makes a project like this so much more appealing to me, knowing that I don't have to make that I-cord with knitting needles. That's what I have for you guys today in terms of ideas for gift knits. Now, Nicole, I hope you're watching this, and I want to leave you with kind of my final takeaway. What I would say is, if you're gonna take anything away from here, even if you knit nothing that I present here today, which is, very likely, when you walk away from this, I think this is what you should take away. When you are knitting gifts for folks, sometimes if you find those folks to be particular about one thing, then knit them something that is not that thing. Or to be safe, the more you go outside the box, the more you embrace whimsy and quirk and make something that is just not taking itself so seriously, the more chances you have of that item just simply being endearing for what it is, and the person really appreciating it and cherishing it because of its whimsy. And then you can even remind that person in a note card or something that you stick with the gift, just to add a touch of whimsy to your life. Handmade by me. And I think it reminds a person, like I said, not to take themselves so seriously. Thank you guys for hanging out with me while I ramble about this. I really had fun choosing these patterns. Again, I know It's a lot of whimsy. It's a lot of stuff you probably typically wouldn't reach for when it comes to what to knit your family as gifts. But I hope you might embrace the notion of whimsy and adding a little bit more of that to your life and the lives of the people you love. Until we meet next time, happy knitting, happy making, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye.